So, well, 2 words for you.
White Fatalis.
Yes, that's right. And
White Fatalis.
Did somebody say my name? Hello?
hello then, my fellow hunters, my fellow sunbreakers in waiting. Let's start talking and deliberating over what may be shaking up in Sunbreak in an effort to be slaking our thirst for news because there's been none, which might be grating.
Look, I'm sorry. It just kept going, and I wanted to see how far it would go.
You might be sat there going, what are you talking about? Yes, okay, White Fatalis, alright, cool, I guess if he was in Sunbreak that'd be neat. Alright, thank you very much. I guess I will remember to like the video, subscribe to not miss more content, and maybe consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. Who knows? I might do any of those. Any of those things, but I don't know I needed to make this a video. Well, look, listen. Firstly and foremostly, I just think this is a fun little idea to float to you guys, to posit, to, well, place firmly in front of your face. You may have to, well, squint in order to see it properly because, there's an eclipse coming. And therein lies the instant where I'm going with this, but in case it's not immediately sprung to mind, well, we got a tweet from the Monster Hunter official Twitter that was a bit of a info on, the actual name Sunbreak, the kind of themes it inspires, why they kind of called it that, and what they're going for with, as the kids say, the vibe. And that tweet was as follows. The subtitle Sunbreak comes from imagery from the game's story, such as the visual of the sun shining down on the world through the clouds. And this is a surprisingly cool, surprisingly to my mind, big tidbit of information. The reason being is because sunbreaking in this way, the clouds, the rays drifting on through, revealing this beautiful mix of light and dark, has been an imagery evoked often in the history of Monster Hunter, and it is often imagery evoked in association with the most climactic of events, with the most big bads of all the monsters. For example, Dalamadur. You'll notice when he is defeated, well above, the sun breaks to signify the end of battle, to signify the righting of the world and the resolution of the threat. And that is perhaps a coincidence once, but it's not just once. Even more recently in Iceborne, Shara Ishvalda, when he is finally brought to heel, well, you do indeed get a distinct clearing of the sky and a more brightening of the environment. In fact, the entire battle is taking place on a cloudy sky with the sun softly pulsing through it. It seems to be a favored backdrop for, well, as I say, the big, most powerful end boss monsters. And I think the clearest, most okay then example of this is, of course, Atalkar, whom you fight in the midst of a stormy desert, sand, dark cloud thread. It is gloomy and it is intense, but upon her, well, expulsion of string, what happens? Well, you have cast aside the illusion, dispelled the curse, as it were, brought down the nest, and let radiance reign in glorious glow. As the sun breaks and greets the hunters victorious. and that is nice to see as well. So if we have this world of Sunbreak, where it is named for this deliberate technique they have quite clearly used a lot before, quite clearly are fond with, quite clearly we're seeing, well, again, a sunless sky, blood red moon in the trailer, so the lack of sun clearly has to be a theme, and the returning of it the resolution of a big story moment, or perhaps the entire story moment. I have no doubt that the end boss will likely involve some sort of darkness that then makes way to light when you have slain it, or perhaps even mid-encounter as part of it, or perhaps even the story of Sunbreak itself is, oh god, it's permanent night and we don't know why. Having a Monster Hunter monster that is a powerful Elder Dragon to the level where it can influence the amount of actual light able to penetrate down below to the land is something I can totally see Monster Hunter doing. It would have to be almost Black Dragon or maybe Black Dragon levels of power in order to make that happen, but the idea, one of the main plot hooks is, it is permanently night. We don't know why, but this is crippling. We need sunlight. We can't survive the crops, the livestock, just the health and happiness of the people having to suffocate in this permanent darkness. Please, hunters, come to this land via Rondine and help! So, figuring out the source of darkness to make the sun break to win could be quite the fascinating plot hook. And indeed, Malzeno is likely a symptom of permanent night. Perhaps normally a monster that isn't seldom outside of its very secluded home or habitat, but now with the entire land blanketed in shadow, it feels confident to roam, and thus we have discovered it en masse. But what actually facilitated its now roaming is yet to be unknown or discovered, and as I said, to blanket darkness would take, well, Black Dragon levels of power. So now we finally loop all the way back round to the start of this conspiracy theory, to the Black Dragon that is synonymous with quite literally blotting out celestial bodies in the sky.
White Fatalis.
I cause the eclipse and the apocalypse. Welcome to my home, this throne of bone that I made when they paid those in trade. Ended their crusade, my power cascades past any British blade. I can rend and tear a hole in the sky. How long before you scream out and die? I am the ancient one above all. Come, little hunters, try and stand tall.
Yes, indeed, because whether you want to argue he came because of the eclipse or is indeed the cause of the eclipse, which is the more accepted reasoning here, the fact remains that White Fatalis is synonymous with blotting out the sun, and the defeating of him, of course, is the most ultimate of Sunbreaks. So I put it to you, what monster, if they were going to do a returning over new, would be most perfect for a climactic sun-breaking story than Old Man Eclipse Death Lightning Dragon himself, White Fatalis, the ancestral dragon, who is of course a dragony dragon and would suit the perfect, more castles, gothic, old, medievally atmosphere that Sunbreak seems to be dripping in. I think that is quite a fun little imagining, and is certainly not out there in the realms of possibility. Now, one thing I will say though is, do I personally want this? Not really. I think Iceborne gave a resounding account of Fatalis in one hell of a climactic battle, and we don't really need just another version of Fatalis again in the climax of the next Master Rank game to follow it. I think it would be a bit anticlimactic. So, for that reason, I mean, I do err on the side of probably not happening, but at the same time, I can't deny that if you do want a monster that most symbolizes, well, blotting out the sun, blotting out the moon, a darkness sunbreaky type theme, White Fatalis is definitely, well, uppest there on the list of monsters that can do it, given his strong association with said eclipse, with said darkness, with that off-worldly power to cause something as threatening as, well, darkness never ending. So, yeah, there you go. Just a little one, just a thought, just food for said thought, just something to make you go, okay. Okay. I would love to know your thoughts, of course. I genuinely don't want it to happen, and I think it's very unlikely, but I think the stage is set that it is certainly something worth talking about. Even if you don't like White Fatalis, just this sunbreaking theme for me is enough to really raise some interest and ask some questions. So those questions I will ask of you. Give me your thoughts. For now though, like if you've enjoyed this, it really does help the channel out. Subscribe so you don't miss anything else. Maybe hit the bell. And if you want to keep us around, then please consider going to the description, supporting us on Patreon. Any amount is unbelievably generous and incredible and means the world and ensures that we will still be here when Sunbreak, comes out. So, yeah, I will see you very soon, and until I do, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.